We're here. We got the
I was
music
practicing
going.
my Spider-Man as the
Yeah,
music.
you got the Spider-Man or like your Kung Fu, the Bruce Lee, the
Kung Fu Panda.
great movies, man. Great movies. I love those episodes, man. Those are awesome.
Oh,
What's
they
going
were
on, brother?
awesome. Hey, good brother, good, good. You know what? I have to say, my voice is holding out this week, and I'm so stoked because of it. I mean, I'm just on cloud nine, brother. It is. I'm going outside after this, gonna hang out, do some work by the pool, enjoy myself. And yeah, everybody's probably going, "Yeah, that didn't sound like your voice is holding out, buddy." That's a big breath for 3 words, but it is. It's doing good, man. It's doing good.
You
Can't
know what's
argue.
crazy? I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I stumbled across one of the old like sales chatter videos, and obviously you look visibly different, and then you sound visibly different too. And I was like, you know what? I like the new Dan. Like hopefully everything works out and everything goes back to that. But like I'm feeling the new Dan, man, full of energy and new stories and having amazing time. So how do you
Yeah.
feel? Let's get to that. Regardless of everything that's going on, how do you feel, my man?
You know what, buddy? I feel good. You
Mm,
know what I've realized is, through this, I got depression, I got anxiety, I got a lot of things through going through what I went through. And obviously, I'm still on medication for it. But um, I find when I move forward towards my goals, it eliminates any anxiety, fear, depression, anything I have.
there you
I've
go.
realized, and it's funny, not funny. I mean, I got an appointment with my doctor in 2 weeks from now because I want to come off of my antidepressant medication.
Yeah.
So it's like this slow winding because now that this is starting to somewhat keep up with this, every single mental challenge I've had is disappearing.
Copy.
And you know, um, I've never believed in collaboration more. I think we've assembled, when it comes to us and business, we've assembled one of the greatest teams on the planet. I really do. And I'm watching things happen at such a pace. It's
Yeah.
like, why didn't this ever happen before? Like, and trust, I think about it all the time. It's like, why? What is it that we're doing now? And things are happening so rapidly, and they're all amazing things. And it's like obstacles just vanish. They're gone,
Where
gone.
are they?
And
Where are they?
it's like,
Where's that obstacle that everybody said that we were
yeah,
facing? What's
I
funny? I love that
know.
you're saying this, Dan, because this morning I woke up early and I was actually creating social media clips for like social media for our from our podcast. And there was one thing I think it was either a couple days ago where you said, like you were in a different mind frame when you hired somebody, and they could have had like 25 deals in the pipe, but you wanted them to be like you. And there was one part, and everybody will see the social clips, and this wasn't planned at all. Dan's hearing this for the first time, but from you kind of saying like, you know what, now I can take a week off with my wife and worry that our business is going to double or triple or it's going to be great. It's not going to go down. It's just not that one person anymore. And I encourage everybody out there. Shout out to Bill and Lisa who's watching this morning, and everybody else around the world that get with your team, man. Find your squad. You and I were talking. I sent you a clip about this amazing podcaster. I think she has like 3.4 million subs on Instagram and
Yeah,
one of the top charts and everything like that. And she said, you got to have that team. You got to have that team, and it's awesome. And so kudos to you for finally realizing that it's not a one man show, but you can go further when you assemble the right chess pieces on the right chessboard, my man.
yeah, yeah. You know what? And shout out to Lisa and Chad and Damon and our whole team, because it wouldn't be possible without them either.
Yeah,
Lisa says I watched an old Inception video the other night.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Different Dano. The purple. What was it? It's either the purple
Golf shirt.
polo or the
Yeah,
Batman shirt or the fuzzy polo that you
but
rock.
brother, I was heavy, man. Like, I'm sorry. I remember, and you know, I I remember when I first um like became ill and started losing weight. And I remember a good friend of mine and customer Joe. He says, I said, Jonah, I've lost, like 64 pounds. He says, well, you were kind of a fat fuck anyways, man. And I started laughing. And he says, is it too early for those jokes? He said, it's never too early, brother. Like, this is just what it is, right? Like, this
Yeah,
is, this is, I'm sarcastic. It's, you know what I mean? It's always like that. And it's, in life, um, Ryan, I look at, obviously now looking at things differently. You know, my wife, my kids are some of the greatest partners you can ever have.
Yep.
And not that I didn't know this before, but you start doing a lot of research and they talk about like Henry Ford and Dyson and all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And their spouses were the only ones in the end standing behind them.
Yeah.
And you could go out and do anything you want in business. If you ruin your family life because of it, it ain't worth it. And
Oh,
you
100%,
talk to everybody about it.
100%, my
And
man. You gotta. What I'm enjoying about this ride that we're all going on right now, the five of us, is that including my wife in it on this, and just
yeah.
telling her the stories, like like we did X, not just obviously proprietary information, but telling her about like the stuff we went through as like the first time and documenting and enjoying this process because this is the first time. This is the first time that yes, I'm a freight agent and I have my own business and things like that, but this is completely different because it's on me with my freight agency, but like to collaborate with the amazing things, having your partner involved. Even like I told my wife about something successful we did this week. We're gonna go celebrate it this weekend, even though it was a little small win for us. But it's just that journey, right? Because you and I both know this, man. We're gonna blip, we're gonna snap our fingers, and God willing, this is gonna be like where we want to be at, and we're gonna be like, ah, shoot, I remember. I wish I could remember those days where we kind of started grassroots. It's like when you get a dog or you have a kid or something like that, right? You wish to remember the puppy stages, even though you hated it. But it's just enjoying the journey as we're kind of going
Well,
along.
and you forget it when you get a second dog because you get one
Yes.
dog and you're like, oh no, it'll be okay. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, should I just do this again?
Yep. And then you're like, scrolling through pictures on your phone, like 30,000
Yeah.
pictures and things like that. But
Yeah.
it's great to talk about that. And one of the biggest things that I've kind of learned from you and just learning about everybody is that it's that consistency, right? And that's what we're doing here today with basically a personal development day where we pick 2 clips, we react to them and things like that. And the clip that you picked, Dan, I thought was like really, really cool and really intriguing for the audience to get into. So do you want to set this bad boy up or do you want to just let it rip?
You know what? I'll set it up this way.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot this week. Salespeople are burnt out. A lot of salespeople, more and more people I speak to are in this rut, right? And a rut is just a grave with the ends kicked out. So be very careful about being in a rut. And it's like, how do we create that energy? How do we create the enthusiasm? How do we create the joy when things are going good? Because face it, Ryan, right? As a salesperson, we tend to perform better when things are going good, right? We're closing
Momentum,
deals,
right?
we're
It's
kind of
momentum.
moving and shaking. We're you know what I mean? Like and the more you do that, the more energy you have. The more energy you have, the more like just explosive you are. Whether conversations, your voice, your everything changes. And then when things go down and there's that lull, and it's like, I gotta do this again. And it's like Groundhog Day. And Dean was talking about the dog days of summer and this. It was like, how do we change that perspective? Because in reality, our perspective is our reality. Right. And one person's perspective is not going to be the other. I'm talking to Jeff yesterday. Oh, Jeff, right there. Jeffrey, shout out, brother. Like, and he's like, Dan, I'm so busy. I got so many things happening. Like, I don't know which way's up. And it's other people are so dead. And but it's their perspective, right? You ask Jeff, is the market at a lull? Does the market suck? It doesn't, because he's busy.
Yeah.
So it's like, but you have somebody else that went from 50 loads a week to 5 loads a week. And they're like, oh my God, the market sucks. I'm going to lose my house.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what I
on
mean? Like,
Indeed. I'm applying, apply.
Yeah. And then now is where other companies are like, I'll give you a $10,000 signing bonus. I'm in. And you drop everything and you go to this new company where the grass isn't greener. Right? Brendan Burchard once said, when you step forward, you create the motivation to take the next step. And all you have to do is step. Tony Robbins says, motion creates emotion. And I believe in that. I believe just keeping going forward. So this clip kind of shares how, would you agree, how simple it is? Not necessarily easy, but simple the strategy is to maintain motivation. Would you agree?
I would agree. I would 100% agree. And
let's do it.
Let's let it rip.
Yeah.
The rule of 100 states that if you spend 100 hours in a year, which is 18 minutes a day, all of us, in any discipline, karate, violin, piano, whatever, if you spend 18 minutes a day, which is 100 hours a year, you'll be better than 95% of the world in that discipline. It's just the consistency of whatever you do more than anything else.
Right? Like, so it's funny because you remember me saying a couple of times, 30 minutes a day of lost productivity is 2.5 weeks of lost productivity at the end of the year. 2.5 full weeks of lost productivity.
Patient, my man.
Like, right? That's like, but think about it. If you're closing, I don't know, a customer a month, and if a customer is worth $30,000 a year to you, you've just lost $20,000.
Yeah.
Right? So when he started saying like 18 minutes a day, and think about this for a second, salespeople, 18 minutes a day selling. Take out the weekends, 25 minutes a day selling Monday to Friday. But then 18 minutes on the weekend, practicing, learning, studying your craft. You'll be better than 95% of the people out there. Like, to me, that's motivation. That's like, okay, so I'm going to start studying copywriting for 18 minutes, marketing for 18 minutes. Like, you know, you're going on and on.
And I feel like because it's such a small number, right? 18 minutes, right? Anybody who used to work like salary or work in any kind of like different where they actually had their breaks like calculated, that's literally like 1 15-minute break plus 3 minutes, right? Like what is that? You know, what is 18 minutes out of your whole day? And just watching this, right? Because like I would love to correlate this as well. I think it takes what, like 21 days of consistency to like form a new habit, and then like 90 days or whatever from there, right? But
21 days,
yeah, 18 minutes a day, right? And for me, when you're looking at the topical salesperson or whatever, like he was talking about karate, and you're kind of in a karate mode today. I saw you kind of, you know, you're all about that. But you just to put that on your craft, because like I remember as a kid growing up and playing music, I didn't want to play, but my parents every single day was like 10 to 15 minutes, just get it done. Like 10 to 15 minutes, you can go watch wrestling, go play basketball, go do whatever you want. 10 to 15 minutes, and I'm pretty good at what I do right now because of those daily things. Just imagine any salesperson, anything in life that you really want to do, right? Like let's say you want to take up knitting, or you kind of want to like take up like video production, anything that it takes. I round that up though, Dan, because I feel like that's me. I would round that up to 30 minutes because I like round numbers. Any thoughts on that?
You know what? My agenda is set in 30-minute increments.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, so I round up and down every day.
Yeah.
So if I set like a 45-minute meeting, I block an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If I set a 30-minute meeting, I block 30 minutes. If I set a 15-minute meeting, I block 30 minutes. And it's everything to me is on the half hour. And that is just simple. It's the way I map my day, where I create, for lack of a better term, I create zero white space, if that makes sense. Right? So, and I know, you know, for all the podcast listeners, you're not going to be able to see this. But when I say zero white space, so what I mean is, let me just find a good one. Okay, so if you look here at my agenda, see where I have my meetings, and then where it's free time, I just put those X's up and down. So I just do triangles up and down. So every piece of my agenda, from the time I start till the time my day ends, including, you know, prepare for tomorrow, is blocked.
Yep.
And that, and all of the V's are free time for me.
Yeah.
So for me, if I don't create that white space, somebody's false emergencies are going to take it over.
There we go. That's the one. That is the one, my man. Something, and that's the thing with time, right? And I always tell this to people. I've read a quote, like we did an episode on this, but we did a quote on it. It was just like, you know what? No one has ever beaten the test of time. Time always wins over everything. And when I understood that, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna practice for 30 minutes, but then I let somebody else, because there's always gonna be something, man. There's always gonna be some distraction that comes into place, whether it be somebody else, whether it be your cell phone, whether it be anything around, like, oh, a new shiny toy, your dogs, or whatever it is. But for me, I've kind of like learned with that 100 hours and time blocking my day. and making sure that I stick to it. I don't know about you, Dan, but even when it comes to like my vitamins, like I take I think I take like 9 vitamins a day, like CoQ10 and folic acid and all that stuff.
I
And
thought
I
you
actually
get
have like a
Coke.
check
I was
mark.
like, you mean you drink a Coca-Cola as a vitamin every day? Like, I'm not sure if that's a
No,
vitamin.
CoQ10, man. That's good for your heart. Everybody, shout
Yeah.
out to if you want to get your heart up and running and you want to get better, take CoQ10. But with that being said, I actually have like a list, like a whiteboard on our fridge, and every time I take one of those pillows, man, I make sure I do a check mark, and it shows that self-gratifying thing that I think like really,
Yes.
really works for
Yes.
myself specifically. And Dan, I want to ask you a question about the 100 hours thing because I know you're probably a fan of it, doing it before. This is nothing new to you. When do you reflect on those, whether it be monthly, whether quarterly, um,
Daily.
weekly? What does that reflection look like
Daily.
for the process
Daily.
that you've
I
made?
reflect on my day. I ask myself with my planner. It
Hmm.
asks me specific questions, and at the end of the day, the last question in the morning is, what do you want to feel or accomplish by the end of the day that will make today great?
Mm.
And I put it down before I even start my day. Literally, it's like when I wake up, the first thing I do is I go downstairs, I feed the dogs, I grab my coffee, I grab my breakfast, and I come up and I sit in my office and I just think and
Yep.
I answer my questions and I mentally prime myself for the day. I look at everything I'm doing. I look at what I moved. I look at what I didn't move. I look at my free space. And I ask myself a series of questions, including who needs me on my A game, including what today can screw me up and how would my
Mm.
best self deal with it. And at the end of it, it asks that question, what is going to make today great? What are you going to look, feel? So some days it's having enough energy to sit at the table with my family and have a great conversation.
Mm.
If I got through the whole day and still had that energy, because I'm obviously going through things a lot of people aren't going through. So my daily, my voice, having my voice carry with me through the end of the day and having the energy and not having a splitting headache to sit down with my family. Because our family, when we get together for dinner, which is 3, sometimes 4 days a week, it's like a 2-hour dinner because we sit there and talk and chat, an hour and a half, 2 hours kind of thing. And it's so amazing to do. So for me, it's like I can bust my ass during the day, but if I don't
Mhm.
have that time, I get pissed off.
Me too. Me
And
too.
I do because it's like I want that ability to be able to have that balance.
Yes.
And I know it's not a time balance, right? But to have that balance. So I ask myself that. And then you go through your day. And at the end of the day, it asks me questions.
Yeah.
Did I serve well today? Was I meaningful to others? Did I care? And it's kind of goes through a series of questions. And at the end of every day, I fill those out. At the end of every week, it's got a weekly and monthly kind of vision thing. And I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
What's the plan? By
It's
the way, Lisa, I was thinking about this while you were talking, but Lisa asked as well, what's the planner in case anybody wants to grab it?
so it's Brendan Burchard's High Performance Planner.
Brendan
Um,
Burchard.
Brendan Burchard's High Performance Planner. They are awesome. And we actually have a Bridger calendar coming out.
Ooh.
Planner that we're just in the process of getting, which we'll start giving away on the show and selling on our website and stuff. But we have a high performance planner based on logistics, specifically to logistics, like talking about a lot of these things. I mean, not that I stole it from them, but I stole it from them.
Hey man, who
Um,
cares, man?
and talking about high performance. But these guys are like, to me, these are the ultimate planners out there. I mean, I've got the Panda planner, which is really good, but you got
Yeah.
to fill most of it out. These are the questions are pre-filled. The week, everything. Like, so at the end of the 7 days, it's, what this week did you learn? All this kind, like it's so, I've been using them for years. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, we'll put the link below if anybody wants to grab it until they want to grab ours. But I
Yeah,
love that
there
you're
you go.
doing that. You are a man at doing that. I love the planner. I actually, funny enough, Dano, I use a simple to-do list pad that I got from the dollar store, and I just write down, the things the non-negotiables that I got to do. So that's where I've kind of like learned, like I love the check marking stuff, but everybody has their own kind of way of doing it, and I love what I'm actually gonna go grab the Brendan Burchard one because I like what
Yeah.
it gives you at the end of the day, and I think for us is I don't use my planner, and I think everybody who's listening out there, don't necessarily just use your planner just for work. Set the rest of your life. Set the rest of the family time that you want to have, the things that you want to do. Maybe like you put on your calendar, hey, I want to try a new class this week. Go find a boxing class or an arts class or a yoga class or something like that. But do something for yourself, because for me, I break it down to 3 things. What am I doing for my work? So that's my work period. what am I doing for myself? So in terms of like my family life and things like that, and then what am I doing for others? In service. Like how can I be in service of other people? How can I make someone's day a lot better than it was previously or something like that? And I think those three things are kind of like the pillars of my life. But shout out
Yeah.
to Dan. You should be getting a promo code, man. You should be an affiliate for this high performance because we got Lisa
Yeah.
ordering one already.
Lisa says ordering one now, but she said she also uses the Panda Planner. The
There you
Panda
go.
Planner is amazing. And especially if you have the one from Rocketbook where you can erase it and then just refill it in and reuse the planner. Like you pay for it once, you can use it for years. Like I love my Panda Planner. It's just for me,
Panda.
I don't know. I kind of jump back and forth, but for me, the high performance planner asks the questions that really light my fire for the day, right? Like one of the first questions is, what can you get excited about today? Like how many times do we wake up in the morning, unless we're prompted to, say to ourselves, God, what can I get excited about today?
Yeah.
Now, because I've used this for so long, I'm in the shower and I'm going, okay, what can I get excited about today as I wash my hair? And I'm going, okay, yeah, I got that coming up. Yeah. What's going to trip me up today?
Yeah.
So a lot
crazy?
of what
I love that you said that. And those are the things. And I feel like everybody, like, Kobe Bryant said this a really long time ago, obviously before he passed. He's like, treat the world like your own playground. Everywhere is going to be an office space. And, Dan, when you're saying like your shower is your office space, I use that time in the gym. When I'm in the gym, funny enough, I used to listen to audiobooks, but then I wouldn't retain because I'm focused on my workouts. I listen to music. Sometimes I just get caught off. So actually what I started doing, Dan, is it's going to sound weird, but I put my AirPods in my ears and I listen to nothing. And I just work.
No, it doesn't sound weird at all.
Yeah, I just listen and I listen to the top 40 playing in the gym. But I use that time exactly for what you're saying, is like planning out the day in my head. What is that going to look like? And things like that. So whatever anybody has, like, whatever works out for you in a routine. I love the planner. I'm probably gonna go grab one. And I love what you said of like coming into your office and just like that's serene. Like I love to sit like on the weekends, like just wake up before my wife. My wife always wakes up before me, but the times that I get to wake up before my wife and just like have a completely silent house, it's like,
yeah,
it's awesome.
You know what I love, buddy? I wake up and I'll go outside. I'll sit outside with my laptop and I'll create templates. I'll create emails. I'll create sales pages. I'll just type. I'll write my book. I'll do all sorts of stuff. And it's like that literally, I could get 4 hours sleep, be exhausted. And after that, I'm like jazzed. It's amazing and here's the thing. Everyone is different, right? Whatever it is that suits you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things I'd really, 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 really like you to understand. Every day, block free time for yourself.
No matter what. You have to.
No matter what, yes.
You have to.
Have a maximum of 5 moves that you're going after. And those 5 moves are on your calendar every single day. So, for example, my calendar is set up with 5 moves. Every one is a different color. I'm a colored person. I love color in my agenda.
Yeah.
So what I do is I have my colored pens, and every pen is a different representation. So if it's development, if it's exercise, if it's education, if it's my daily framework, or if it's sales or bridger development, all of them are in a different color. So when I visually open up my calendar, I see the different colors.
Yeah.
And to me, that represents a very powerful day, because all 5 areas of my life, you notice I said education. Every day I educate myself on something, whether it's a course, I do another module of a course every single day without fail, even weekends.
You got to keep that consistency. Like once you do it, like that one day that you don't do it, it's going to feel really weird. And I think for me, the model that I kind of use is don't have 2 days. I'm allowed to take 1 day off of something, but I'm not allowed to take 2 days. So if I don't want to
be a good reason why you take 1 day off.
Well, it's what I got to understand myself and give grace to myself, because what I've kind of realized, the pandemic has really taught me this too. It's just like, my business is always going to be there. Everything is always going to be there, for if like, let's say here the thing, right? Like you look at Usain Bolt, right? Usain Bolt, he trains, he crushes people in race and stuff like that. If he coasted like the last 10 seconds of every single race, right? So you think about that. If you train 6 days out of the 7 days, you're up on, like with the video that you showed up, you're up on like 95% of the people. Those people are playing catch up at that point. right? So that's why I kind of believe in, like, take that one day off. But one thing that I really enjoy about our videos on Thursdays and things like that is like we get those different perspectives, and having low
Mhm.
standards is the video that I kind of chose today. So let's hop into that bad boy and let's see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Look
So
forward to it.
moving forward, set higher standards in your fitness, in your ability to orate, to speak, in your ability to communicate, in your ability to be decisive, in your ability to be a better husband, an ability to be a better father, better friend, better entrepreneur, better leader. Enough with setting low standards and hitting those standards and being proud of yourself. Like, fuck, man, let's get to it.
Love this guy. This guy is awesome.
Yes.
He's the best. And the one thing
Real
that kind of,
AF.
yeah, you got to do it. And the one thing that I've been a victim of, so I will be vulnerable by saying this, was that I always used to think of like making realistic goals, or like realistic, like that word realistic kind of
Smart
bogged me down.
goals.
And kind of like thinking about, like let's, not necessarily set for a low standard, because like I've had a great life, especially coming into logistics, but thinking like, hey, can I really make like, if I was to come to myself and be like, hey, I can make $1 million this year, I'd be like, nah, me $1 million, I'm not worthy of making it. I'm not worthy of being a millionaire, or things like that. And those are and there's a different part of this video that he talks about that I didn't get, but he says like people always say shoot for the moon, right? But you can shoot, miss, but he's like aim for the stars, and if you aim for the stars and you miss the stars, you'll land among the moon. Right. And I think that that's the mentality that I've kind of like really kind of invested into myself this year was, there's no limitations on anything. And I'm not saying that I was chained by anything, Dan, because we've heard about the three prisoner story that Ed Milet talks about. Everybody, these guys were in jail, and everybody kept asking them, what do they want? What do they want? What do they want? And they'd be like, hey, I want better food, or I want to come out for a night. And then the third person came out to them and said, here's the key. How often are we just don't ask for the key to unshackle ourselves and just leave, right? But for me, what I've kind of looked at being realistic is like set those goals, man. Set those goals, have fun, and enjoy the process with it, right? Because it's just like if I'm working towards a higher goal, like whether it be a newer house or getting a new car, I always go back to this, and this is not bragging at all, but like my wife is like, it's funny how our partners are the best teachers compared to like us, like watching a module and like that. Like my wife one day, she was just telling me, she was like, hey, will you drive to St. Catharines with me? And you and I both know St. Catharines for me is literally an hour and a half away from here, from our house. And we went, and she saw this car that she liked like 2 days prior, and she's like, I'm gonna buy this car. And it was a Benz GLA. And mind you, our house only has like one car garage, and we already have a car. We have our hybrid. So she would have to park that car in the garage, and the garage was like full of shit, right? But we had to move all those things and things like that. But just that mentality of like, fuck it, man. I deserve this. I want this. I want to drive a Benz to work every fucking day. I want people to know. And it was kind of funny because with that small process, she got the white Benz. 2 months later, she went to the Benz to go get it serviced, and they talked her into getting like the latest Benz because it was only a couple $100 a month. So now she's driving a 2023 GLA. And then 2 weeks ago, Dan, she actually got a customs license plate, and we went to Service Ontario and we got it registered. And for her, that was like the biggest lesson that I learned from her was like, fuck it, man. Because I could have always said, hey, we already have a car. Like I don't go anywhere. Me personally, I stay home from work all the time. Like I work from home. Even when you and I want to collaborate, even when Damon came down, I was like, well, I don't have a dog sitter or things like that. And like, we share one car. But like now it's like, fuck, I can go anywhere I want to go, and like having that freedom again, Dan. So low
and not only
standard,
that, the garage didn't need to be cleaned until you needed to put a car in it. Then it
There we
needed to be
go.
cleaned. So then it became a priority.
Yep, it didn't.
Yeah. And you know what? It's that is rewarding yourself for service rendered. It's some people it's that, some people it's watching others succeed. Some people, like for example, companies, right? The mission, the goal, the ability is to watch your reps succeed.
Yes.
Should be. And it should be to give them every single tools to succeed in whatever market they're in. And the profit will come. But it's just what it is. The profit will come if people succeed. And you know what? So many people succeed and never reward themselves. So I'm happy she does that. And you should do that. And I like the fact that after this week, after some of the things we put together, you're going to celebrate with her because it should happen. That's the way it should be. Like go and celebrate every win, inch by inch, anything's a cinch. Anything.
I love
Build a
that.
multi-billion-dollar business inch by inch. It's a cinch. It really is. It's when the clip that you just had, where he says set standards low. I've often said to myself, I'm not shooting for the moon. I'm shooting for Saturn. I'm shooting for Venus. And if I hit the moon, I'm better than 98% of the population. And not meaning like I'm, you know what I mean? But I've done more. I've achieved more than 98% of the population.
Yeah.
And that's reality. And when it comes to standards, we all have what you've been through, Ryan. Everyone. And anyone that says they don't is a liar.
Yeah.
We all have those self-doubts. It's just reality. Like, if you've never made $1 million a year, you're going to have a self-doubt about making it. But the second you make it, it's like, okay, well, let's make 2 million. You're going to have self-doubt about it, but you've already made $1 million. So to make another $1 million, it's really not a goal.
No, it's just
If
what
you've
you've
ever
done.
bought a brand new car and you say, what's your goal? I want a brand new car. Well, have you had a brand new car? Yes. Well, that's not a goal, right? That's not something that like puts the fear inside of it. It's not something where you have to grow to get, because you've already bought a brand new car.
Yeah.
Now, if you say, I bought a $30,000 car and I want to buy a Tesla Roadster at $180,000,
Nice.
that's different, because you're like 6 times the original car that you bought. So you have to set a new milestone, a new hierarchy to get to that level to be able to afford it, right? So it's like, at that point, I would say, I want this car, not a new car. I want this car.
Yeah, you're
I
very
want an electric
specific.
roadster.
Well, it's coming back to exactly what you're talking about, right? Being specific with everything that you want. And I love that you said that, Dan, because for everybody who's watching out there, it's kind of like anybody who used to play video games. When you play like a video game and you get to a save point, right? So you can't go back. You get to that save point at that milestone. It's like, okay, well, you accomplished this mission. We'll save it here and then go accomplish the next mission, right? And then you save it there, and that's a progression of life. And kudos to everybody. Like we said, like celebrate those small wins. I've been saying that like from day one, even if it's as small as getting a quote. Like anybody who's brand new watching, and they're in the logistics industry, this is a hard industry to be in, especially this time right now. But the one thing that Dean kind of said that we're making a social clip for was understand that make those relationships with people, and those things will pay off. But coming back to it, if you're a sales rep and you get that first quote, you get your first order, celebrate those things, man. You're gonna remember the memories and the milestones that you just talked about more than the money that you've lost or anything like that. That's where I'm a big fan, because
if you qualify a customer in under a minute, in under 5 minutes,
celebrate
celebrate it and say,
Go
and
get
then,
yourself
but
a
then
coffee,
immediately create the next goal. Okay, I want to qualify in under 3 minutes now instead of 5.
Yeah.
Right. And just constantly try and strive for more. Because here's the thing, we talked about at the beginning, we started the show, and yesterday we talked about burnout, right? Where we were talking to Dean. That's, and I learned this from Chad, and I used to say it's creating energy. But Chad said, well, what if we gamify it? Because everybody loves games, right? Everybody loves the adrenaline in a game. Like you just said, getting to that next level. So gamify your sales in any way you can. Oh, you know what? I qualified that customer in 5 minutes. Tomorrow, I'm going to qualify those mofos in 4.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and get to that next level. Oh, every person I got a hold of, I caught their attention today, except 3. Tomorrow, everyone I get a hold of, I'm catching their attention. And that's gamifying your business, gamifying your life. And that's when you can have fun every step of the way, because it's like golf. You're competing against yourself, right? And instead of going, oh, like it's like, okay, you know what? Every voicemail I get today, I'm going to try and leave such a compelling message. Somebody calls me back.
Ooh.
If you don't get a call back tomorrow, same thing. I'm going to leave a different compelling message. And eventually somebody's going to call you back, and you're like, and first thing I would say is, which voicemail did I leave you?
Like, 1, 2, or 3,
Yeah. What made you call me back? What made you? And it's like, then you're like, yes. And it's a game. And that game feeds you energy, brings you joy. Because then you can go home and say, you know what, honey? You know what I did? I played a game with myself today. And this was the mission. This was the objective, to get to my next level and save that result.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it. But tomorrow I'm gonna. Like, that's fun. No?
Yeah, you got to make fun, especially like if you're by yourself, and even if you're working in an office, man. We used to like have our games and things like that we would play just to kind of not necessarily pass the time, but you got to remember too, right? Like this is your career. This is what you want to be doing, right? It's not just a job, and I think when you kind of change that up and things like that, but it's I love these two videos that we brought up.
Especially in
You got the
offices.
yeah, well there we go, yeah.
Yeah. I remember we used to every Friday at 2 o'clock in what we called the development center. We would do a 60-foot putt off. So we'd put a golf ball like cup at the end at 60 feet away, and anyone who made it in would get to go home. Right.
Ooh,
So here was the cool thing is I saw productivity on Friday skyrocket.
yes,
And the reason being is people knew I might be able to leave at 2. So I'm going to get as much done by 2 as possible so I can actually leave, because they were very dedicated to what they were doing. So it would be like this all week. They would be the development center would be mumbling with each other. Oh, you got to go home. I'm going to crush you this week. I'm going to crush you this week. And it became this game. And trust me, we disrupted the whole floor, because as it was going in, we're like, whoa, and like people are doing the tiger pump and all that kind of stuff. But it created this really cool atmosphere
yep,
inside the development center that brought the team together. Right. And that was the start of the development of collaboration in the company.
Hmm.
And it was from a putt every Friday at 2 o'clock.
Well, you look at
So
the reward, right? And I think
yeah.
like let's break that down a
And it's
little
only
bit.
3 hours, Ryan. Like it's 3 hours in a week. They
Yeah.
get them early, but it means the world.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And you look at that, that's the reward, right? It's like we talk about what would you do with that time back, right? And most of the time, like realistically, maybe 30 minutes to get home, but what would you do with 2.5 hours back to spend it with your family, or you get to do that one thing, or even start your weekend off earlier, like you text the boys, like, I'm ready, I'm ready at 3 o'clock. Let's go do our thing. So, you're
Yeah.
selling that idea, like even if it's just
Yeah.
a putt off and it's just 3 hours or anything like that. And
Yeah.
it's cool
We
to
had
kind of
guys
see.
booking tea times
See, there
saying,
we
I know
go.
I'm going to win. I'm booking a tea time.
Oh,
And
that's
book it
confidence,
on
man.
Monday.
That is confidence. That is
Yeah. And
that
they're
is
sitting there lining up that putt, man. They were lining up that putt. It was,
they would line up, but
so cool to see. So cool to see. But really one of the biggest lessons there that Chad taught me was gamification. How can you gamify what you do?
mhm.
Like it just your perspective just shifts, man. It's so cool. So cool.
It is. I love it. I gotta talk to Chad about that and let him kind of give
Yeah.
me that feel as well. So, Dan, we're coming up to basically to tomorrow's Fun Day Friday, so it is what we do on Fridays. Not really talk business stuff like that, but let's start something new here. Top 3 takeaways from the entire week, and one thing that you're looking forward to for the podcast next week.
So top 3 takeaways from the week. Gosh, there was so many this week. Like even Monday, and then love what you do Tuesday, and then talking about burnout on Wednesday. Oh wow, that's a good one, brother. So I think obviously love what you do because it creates energy. Don't set the bar low, set the bar high. Because if you miss it, you're still going to be better off than 98% of your competition.
Mhm.
And the 18 minutes. Like really that put a lot of things in perspective, of even if you think, you've been doing something for the last 2 weeks and you're like, oh, I don't know if it's getting me anywhere. It's kind of 18 minutes a day for a year. And you're better than 90 and you become out stronger than 95% of the people. Like I'm thinking of that in a lot of different aspects, right? Like even exercise for me.
Yeah.
Where instead of going for 45 minutes and being out for 2 days, maybe just go for 18 minutes a day.
Go for 18 minutes a day so we can go the next
Just
day.
start somewhere. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. That's what I would say, probably for me. What I'm excited about next week is we've got, on Tuesday, we've got a LinkedIn professional coming to join us who is going to bring us up to speed on all the algorithms, what LinkedIn posts are working, why LinkedIn changed the algorithm, how to get more traction and create more leads from LinkedIn with content. So I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. Obviously, a follow-up with Dean on Wednesday. And then I'm loving Thursdays, man. I'm loving Thursdays.
Thursdays
They're awesome.
we're rocking it out, man. I'm loving these, man. I'm loving having this, bringing value to people, and it's a lot of fun. And I don't know, maybe we're feeling a little bit rejuvenated since we switched over to StreamYard from Restream. I just feel like the function's a little bit nicer, looking a little cooler. But yeah, you know, it's just those little things that we kind of make those little tweaks to build a better product for everybody who's watching. Because hey, as much as
that sounded like a Bridger transition.
Yeah,
that was like a Bridger transition. You want to talk about building a better product, my man? Check out bridgersystem.com.
Well, we'll be talking about that. We'll be doing an episode dedicated to it. Maybe we'll do it on Monday or Tuesday. From there.
Yeah,
but
love that.
Yeah, let's definitely do it. So tomorrow will be Fun Day Friday, where I take up the mantle of being the game show host once again, and just having fun, just having casual conversation like we're having today. And then anytime we hear something about that we've heard the same thing over and over again, we hit them with the Price is Right from there. So with that being said, you know, this is Sales Chatter Live. You can catch us back on the replay. Please go to our website and our YouTube channel and subscribe to there. That's where we want everybody. We're putting up templates. We got cool things coming up your way, and things that are just not fluff. These are actual things that we use. And then we want to appreciate everybody who catches us on the audio. We see you guys, you know, everybody who's downloading around the world. And we can say that, Dano, people are downloading around the world. Our podcasts on many platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, all that fun stuff. So we're seeing it and we're hearing you. If there's ways that you want us to improve this channel, you just let us know, because we're always open for that. So did I miss anything, Dano? I don't think I did.
No, man, you're going smooth. Well, you missed the Amazon driver, but that's okay.
Yeah. We don't hit the replays anymore. We're not hitting the So I gotta. You know what? You know, we gotta. You know, we gotta. I gotta fix that one for us, everybody. But with that being said, from Dano and Ryan, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing day, and take 18 minutes today to work on yourself.
18 minutes.